All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans and No Ball. With what is it? The draft will be tomorrow by the time this video comes out. So we're finally, as promised, gonna get our final mock draft. This one being our second one, I believe. So, Christian, I guess let's not let this video get too long. I mean, I think the number one pick is a pretty much consensus. So let's just get it started.
Yeah, so obviously, without a doubt, it's going to be Caleb Williams. He will be a Chicago Bear. I mean, it's already been speculating in the past couple months, even the last couple weeks with everything that's been going on, especially even acquiring Keenan Allen with the whole number change and everything too, to hopefully give Caleb the number 13. So without a doubt, Chicago, they're going to be leaning to choosing on the probably the best quarterback prospect in the upcoming draft, Caleb Williams.
Yeah. So obviously going to the second pick, that's where this time, we kind of get a little more. It's a little harder to really decipher, as reports have been coming out a little different. I mean, we know it's gonna be a quarterback, that's for sure. But I mean, Christian, what you think? You think Drake May, Jaden Daniels? You got somewhere you're leaning?
Honestly, I'm thinking. Honestly, it's between the two. Honestly, I want to say Daniels, but looking into the New England side, which we get into, I mean, they are in desperate need of a quarterback too, but it really doesn't come to the point if
It's
they
in the
couldn't get
Commanders'
Daniels
hands right
first.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, the Commanders, whether they want to trust Drake May or either Daniels here. Honestly, it's honestly either or, but honestly, I'm probably gonna have to stick with Drake May with their pick for the second.
Yeah. I'm like, he's my favorite one to go to. I mean, he's my favorite quarterback in the draft, and if I'm being honest, I've kind of been adamant that for a little bit, but reports keep saying that Jaden Daniels has been a lock. We know Peter Schrager, who's been like a lock with these mock drafts, kind of been saying that. But we'll wait and see. I think Drake May would be the smart pick. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, no question here. Jaden Daniels will go to the Patriots if this is how it all plays out. It's going to be that top three is basically a consensus. And going into the fourth pick, it's probably going to be the first non-quarterback. A lot of trade speculation, but Christian, who we got going here?
Yeah, so obviously with the Cardinals, it's obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. He is the best receiver prospect in this draft once again here. But obviously, there were recent reports here that Arizona could trade out of that fourth pick, but they are expecting, I think, three first-round picks. So a hefty haul if a team does want to trade up with it. I know
Roughly the haul that the Niners had to give up with Miami when they ended up having to trade for Trey Lance. So obviously, the pick that's coming up right here, that's probably one that also gonna be with a lot of trade speculation. And with that fifth pick, obviously all the speculation that's been going that maybe they were gonna go into the fourth pick. We have the Vikings making a move with the Chargers, and probably the highest riser in this draft, if we're being honest. JJ McCarthy gonna be the guy we're gonna take here. I mean, it's been just, the Vikings obviously need a quarterback with Cousins leaving, and is he really gonna be the right pick to be made here? I mean, that's also to be told. I mean, a lot of people giving that Zach Wilson speculation. We'll wait and see, but definitely expect the Vikings to make a move here.
Yeah, I mean, JJ's stock has been rising because of all the past reports, and then I think from everything that's been going on, I know a lot of people are still skeptical of JJ McCarthy just because of that performance he did in the championship game. Everything is subject to change. Who knows? But without a doubt, this is probably an arguably a really eye-opening pick here for the Minnesota Vikings. Now moving on with the New York Giants here. Malik Neighbors is going to be a New York Giant here. I know with the past mock we had them going with the Jets here, and obviously like the Giants with their whole quarterback situation, they're obviously going to stick with Daniel Jones for this upcoming season. See how that plays out. They're giving him that buttload of money, which we've talked about on this channel for quite some time now. But New York once again getting another receiver in the first round back-to-back years after drafting Jalen Hyatt last year. Hyatt, he did look like to see he's finally coming on a rise a tiny bit there towards the end of last season. I mean, him and Hyatt, they could be a nice duo here and there, but they're still really, really young to see.
Yeah, and a guy like Hyatt was kind of the reason that I, in that last mock draft, I wasn't really expecting the Giants to really think a receiver. I was thinking, obviously the guy got the Titans up on this next one picking Joe Alt, but I mean, if we're being honest, the main guy they wanted was JJ McCarthy, and obviously that kind of goes out the window. Would they really make a move for Bo Nix or Michael Penix? I wouldn't see that happening. So in the end, if the Giants aren't a team to make a move, definitely expect them to go with a receiver. And obviously I just mentioned definitely expect the Titans to take Joe Alt, which is kind of a move that we've kind of been expecting for a while.
Yeah, especially with with that O line really needs to be bolstered up, and Joao, that really huge prospect, that big ass dude from Notre Dame, can really be a big step up, especially with Will Levis taking the position at the quarterback here, and then Atlanta taking another. I think Dallas Turner, he's the edge, right? Yeah, Dallas Turner is the edge, and once again bolstering up that D line. Atlanta, they've had some good history with having a good defensive line here. Dallas Turner is going to be a real big step up, especially with that defense. It's young, it's ready to get out there, and that defense is just ready to get bolstered with the pick of Dallas Turner.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, both you and me, we love a good edge, and I mean, if we're going with the Rams, that's something that I'm hopefully going to get into and coming with this pick. But I mean, Dallas Turner, obviously, we saw his play. I go back to that the way he played against Michigan in that Rose Bowl. Really caught my eye, and ever since I've started looking into his game, and he's a phenomenal edge rusher. Definitely going to be great for that Falcons defense. And going with the Bears now. This is, apart from Marvin Harrison Jr., my favorite receiver in the draft, Rome Odunze, that I think is going to be a phenomenal weapon for Caleb Williams. And I mean, surprised to me if he actually does fall to the Bears. I would think that the smart move would be for the Giants to take him at, I believe it's 6, but clearly I see they have a lot more interest in Malik Neighbors, so that's something else to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Rome Odunze, he really is such a good pair up for Caleb Williams finally, but still, look at him still in the Bears situation here. Still getting thrown into a tight position here, so hopefully he doesn't mess it up for them in the future. And now moving on to the other really big name, Brock Bowers, probably the best tight end in the draft. The New York Jets gonna go with Brock Bowers. Obviously, the Jets as a whole, they kind of stumbled with the whole quarterback play. Now with Zach Wilson is gone, since he did get traded to Denver not that long ago, and another weapon added for Aaron Rodgers here, Brock Bowers at the tight end position, which is another position that they really need help with.
Yeah, obviously we talked about him. It's a phenomenal tight end prospect. We'll see if he lives up to that hype. Obviously, coming off an injury in his last season, that probably a big reason why Georgia didn't get to make a run at the college football playoff. And going into finally the result of our trade with the Chargers making their pick, and I believe, the smartest move here would be for them to go O-line, and my favorite O-lineman left right here. I told you a lot about him, Christian. Don't know how to pronounce his name fully. Olu Fashanu, obviously, just a phenomenal big guy out of Penn State. Just obviously the Chargers at this point, no big name receivers left on the market. That maybe we'll get into that in a bit, but I think the smart thing here is going to be protect Justin Herbert.
Yeah, obviously Justin Herbert, he's going to need all the protection he gets. So, Olu Fashanu is really going to help him there, especially with all the weapons they lost for this Chargers team. They're already in turmoil, so obviously a boost to that O-line is obviously a good step in the right direction. Now, moving on with Denver's pick, this is kind of the one. It can really go both ways, honestly. Like, we got either Bo Nix, Michael Penix. We had speculation with JJ McCarthy probably going with the Broncos here, but
that was our pick in the last mock draft.
Yeah,
because that was before McCarthy actually started to rise up in the drafts.
After stock here, but Penix here, I would see Penix going to the Raiders, obviously with everything with the reports going on here. A lot of scouting's been done with from the Raiders to Penix. Or Daniels is there too, but with Penix, that's kind of the more guy that they've been leaning towards for the Raiders here. Bo Nix, I still don't see. I still don't see Bo Nix coming early in the draft this too early here. So Michael Penix probably would be the more realistic option for the Broncos.
If that's your pick, I'll let you have that. Me personally, I honestly think they had their eye a little more on Nix, but personally, to me, Penix is definitely a better prospect. So if it was us, I'd definitely say we'd be saying Michael Penix Jr. But I think if we were to say the realistic one, I think probably would be Bo Nix. But moving on into the Raiders now, obviously you kind of got your names a little mixed up. I'll just be honest with you. The Raiders, obviously the Antonio Pierce connection, former Arizona State, Jaden Daniels was kind of the guy, and we see the Commanders, they're probably not moving away from number 2, so trade's not going to be realistic for the Raiders to end up getting Jaden Daniels, so they'll stay at 13. And probably one of my favorite players that's still available, Terrion Arnold. I told you since the last mock draft, he's my favorite corner in this draft. I would love to see if the Rams were to have moved up by this point, but they fixed that corner need, so that's obviously something that's out the window. But definitely a standout corner from Alabama. We know they're definitely got some good track record with corners, so I would definitely expect a great help for that Raiders defense if they make this move.
Yeah, I mean the Raiders defense, I know how we said a lot with their defense probably being horrible, but they really made a big step up last season here, and then just adding more firepower to the contract position with Teron Arnold coming from Alabama, like how you just said right now. They got some good lineage with quarterbacks there. And moving on with New Orleans pick, we got, how are we gonna butcher it? Taliese Fuaga. Taliese Fuaga, the tackle from Oregon State here. Obviously, New Orleans, they're still in a winnable division here. Well, obviously with the Bucks been adding here, but the O-line for the Saints, this is the pick here to kind of boost it up for there, especially with I would think Derek Carr is probably still being their quarterback. So I mean, more protection for Carr, but it just depends how Carr is gonna end up playing next season.
Yeah, unless they end up, getting a quarterback late round and gives them some competition. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, like I told you, I definitely like Fuaga out of Oregon State, and something else we talked about. New Orleans has a phenomenal track record of developing these own linemen, so could definitely expect him to be a future Pro Bowler. And moving into the Indianapolis Colts now, Christian, we've had this back and forth that you would think it's gonna be corner, and I honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards that too. But recent reports, a lot of expectation that the Colts were going to move up, maybe Malik Neighbors, maybe even all the way up to go for Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I don't think that's realistic. But if we look at actual, wide receiver talent that they could end up going for, maybe not Malik Neighbors, maybe Brian Thomas Jr. That's definitely something that I think realistic. I mean, sure, we see who do they got? Obviously Pittman, and I think it's Josh Downs, who's their wide receiver too. Or if we're going to look at Alec Pierce, who I think he's a receiver too. So
I was gonna say, it's Pierce.
Yeah, it's Pierce, right? So, I mean, sure, they got a pretty good core right there, but if you bolster with a young guy that you still don't got to pay for a while, I could definitely see why the speculation has been there.
Yeah, I could. Brian Thomas, I mean, I do see him kind of going more early in the top 15, which they're in the 15 pick here with the receiver core. So obviously,
early riser.
Yeah, with Pittman, Thomas, and then like you said, Pierce. That could obviously be a nice combination for Anthony Richards' return here, and the Colts can actually, hopefully be into competition with the Houston Texans, since they're probably already favored to be the next ones to obviously go back to back in the division once again. And now moving on with the Seahawks pick. Now the Seahawks, this is another thing here too with the Seahawks pick. I know how I mentioned Penix with the Raiders here. The Seahawks as well, they're also more looking into Penix with the quarterback play into here.
But we already got him in Denver, so.
Yeah, but Geno Smith's probably going to be the quarterback for there. So obviously the O-line is another team. They really need some O-line help. And Troy, probably going to butcher that last name once again. Troy Fautanu.
I believe it's
Troy Fautanu, yeah. Troy Fautanu from Washington. Obviously Washington's getting a lot of players coming to this draft. And then Troy Fautanu, he's really another big guy here that could really be a really big step up for Geno Smith.
Yeah, I had him sliding down in the first mock draft, but obviously getting a little more familiar with all these guys after obviously all the visits and everything we see. The Seahawks definitely like the Washington connection. We had all the connection with Penix obviously staying in state, and definitely gonna see a lot of that here too with Fautanu. That's probably been one of the worst kept secrets going into this draft, and I feel very confident with them going with him there, especially like you said, the need to protect Geno. So moving into the Jaguars, this is a pick that, a lot of people did expect to be traded. We saw all the speculation with the 49ers, and would this be a trade for Ayuk? The Jaguars thought this would be a little too steep for him, so they would end up going, in our mock draft, definitely going to hurt me a little bit here. I see him going Laiatu Latu, someone that over time I really started growing a bit of an affinity for. As much as, he's a UCLA guy, can't really mess with that, but, just a phenomenal edge rusher. I can't say enough about him. Just really enjoyed watching his film when I got the chance to, and the Jaguars defense definitely gonna get bolstered up.
Yeah, him paired up with Josh Allen, who did get his massive extension here not that long ago too, so that could be a really big step for the Jaguars once again. Now moving on with Cincy's pick here. Obviously with Cincy, they got some decent amount of holes to fill here, but I think looking into the defensive side, especially at the edge, Jared Verse probably going to be the guys to take here. Coming out of FSU here. The defense of the Bengals, honestly, mixed feelings about it. One game they can be good, next game they can be bad. And I don't know how they feel about it here.
It's an aging core, so you definitely see why.
But they're more on the aging side towards the D-line here. But him and Hendrickson, right? Number 91. Yeah, him and Hendrickson, that's another duo that you can really look into with Jared Verse getting drafted into Cincy.
Yeah, and obviously, we were talking about this. We were kind of really thinking whether either you go off the edge with Jared Verse or you go on interior D line with, I believe it's Johnny Newton. So obviously that moves into the Rams pick. My pick, of course, gonna be. It's a very important pick. It's obviously our first rounder since Jared Goff. Really don't want to mess this up, and I think it's the same thing. You know, the big thing for us here, it's going to be replacing Aaron Donald. You know, I always started talking about, you know, the cornerback was always a big need, but we obviously we fixed that need pretty well with all the moves we've been making, and someone that I really liked, someone that we had going to the Bengals in the last mock draft. I'm going with Byron Murphy, someone that I really like. Christian, I'm sure you can elaborate on him, being a big Texas fan yourself. I really liked his game, and I really think, I mean, I see him a little bit a step over Johnny Newton.
Yeah, you know, bro, I honestly, I love my Texas boys. Obviously, a lot of prospects coming out of Texas here, and Byron Murphy. I mean, I don't know, you're already in love with Byron Murphy. Obviously, that's honestly a more realistic pick for
We
the
saw him
Rams here.
throwing his hat in the ring, being the next Aaron Donald. Could definitely do that here in LA.
Hey, man, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, it's gonna be extremely hard to replace Aaron Donald, man. Especially how he is the defensive tackle, probably the best defensive tackle in history here. He obviously revolutionized that position. So replacing Donald, it's obviously gonna be a tough task. I wouldn't say Byron Murphy to replace him that quick, but he would have some big shoes to fill if he ends up getting drafted to the Rams. But without a doubt, it is an obviously solid pick for you guys. And now with San Fran with the speculations with Ayuk, we got them going to trade with Pittsburgh here. So now they do have a first round pick. So Ayuk will be getting sent to the Steelers here. Now, obviously, I would see them going defense in this round. Quinyon Mitchell, the guy from Toledo at the cornerback position, that's another guy that's I really like watching there. I really love his game. And then with San Fran, that defense, those corners, I would still boost them up a bit there, especially in looking into the playoffs. The secondary, it was kind of a little skippy here and there, so boosting up that defensive backs would be a big step for them.
It obviously hurts me to see this pick being made because obviously I told you a lot about Quinyon Mitchell. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. So
Quinyon, yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell. There you go. Butchered my lines, but whatever. I mean, he was obviously a very high riser coming out of Toledo. You know, wasn't really well known, but obviously going into the draft process, I believe that Senior Bowl really shot him up, and really hurts to see the Niners bolstering up those cornerbacks. But you know, that's how the draft works, and obviously, you know, losing Ayuk, I guess, you know, in this mock, you know, would really help us. So going into the Miami Dolphins, obviously, you know, a lot of people are thinking they're going to go defense because of the loss of Christian Wilkins. In my eyes, I think they've had an eye for Alabama offensive tackle J.C. Latham. Now, I guess, you know, this maybe is, you know, a little different than a lot of people really have expected for the Dolphins. But I mean, you see Latham. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be mad if the Rams go all line and decide to go with him. But I mean, he's just a phenomenal talent. You know, we talk about these how great Alabama is at, you know, developing these different positions. The O-line is definitely one of them, and Miami's definitely going to be getting a good one if they make this one.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this mock, I mean, and all these players, there's a lot of draft really good offensive lineman prospects coming in here. So I was really hopeful Tua to get more protection. You would hope to hopefully get Tua some more protection after everything he's already been through now. But yeah, and now moving on with Philly's pick. Oh, Philly. Obviously, I really expected to go defense in the first round here. I called that defense collapsing with the
specifically the secondary, as you've always been talking about.
Especially with that secondary here. Not too really concerned about the safeties, just concerned there, but I'm more concerned with the cornerbacks here. I got them going on Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama. Another Alabama guy, like you said, Alabama has a good lineage with cornerbacks here. And Kool-Aid, he was already a name even in the beginning of the NFL season. He was already getting traction from Alabama and all the past couple games he's been playing here. So Kool-Aid would be a really, really big pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. Really do expect them to go a little bit more defense heavy here, but Kool-Aid for sure should be a priority for them.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, this was, you know, obviously our biggest point of conversation with, you know, Philly secondary, and you know, you would hope this would be something to bolster it. And moving into, you know, the last part of that earlier trade with the Vikings, we got the Chargers once again at pick 23, and this was what I alluded to a little earlier. The biggest glaring need after getting rid of Mike Williams and of course Keenan Allen, definitely need a receiver. And My opinion, the best available at this moment would be Adonai Mitchell. Christian, once again, another Texas guy. Obviously, you can go on and on about that. And I would think, Justin Herbert getting an O-lineman like Fashanu and getting a receiver like Mitchell, definitely going to be a great first round for him.
Yeah, so now I know it's pronounced Adonai instead of Adonai.
I don't know. It's one of us got it right.
Adonai, whatever it say here, but Adonai Mitchell, he's getting overlooked because of Xavier Worthy with everything that's going on. I know I really love Adonai Mitchell. I really expected the Cowboys to hopefully pick it, which I will elaborate a little bit more the next pick here. But the Chargers in the first round, I mean, there's more really to say here. I would say a receiver here like Adonai Mitchell would be more realistic for them, especially with, they already lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Really need Herbert for some help here. And now moving on to the pick for the Dallas Cowboys here. Without a doubt, we're going to go offensive lineman here. And I'm hoping Mims from Georgia, he stays on the board, drops to 24th here. Mims is really a good guy. I can't really decide whether I would take him over Powers. I would honestly love either or, right? Powers is expected to, go a little bit earlier, but without two, those are really big helps here for him to get paired up with Zach Martin and Tyler Smith. So I think Tyler Smith, he is getting moved back to left guard, I believe. I might get the position mixed up a bit here. Or Guyton from Oklahoma. That's another guy that's been getting looked at by the Cowboys as well here. So without a doubt, this O-line in the first round for the 24th pick, I really expect to go really, really O-line heavy here for the first.
Yeah, I would expect a lock for sure, whether it's Mims or Guyton. I mean, obviously the way this shook out, Mims landed with you guys, and definitely a great move for you guys if it ends up turning out that way. And you talk about Jackson Powers. I mean, he is still available if that was at least on this one, and obviously we do have him going to the next pick with the Green Bay Packers. Now, of course, Carvajal would be very happy to hear that, getting, I guess, depending on what they use him in the position wise, but could be your Bakhtiari replacement. Definitely has the potential to be a Bakhtiari replacement for them. And I mean, like we said, we've heard phenomenal things about Powers. I mean, we've seen his tape and his potential, as I've been saying. So just definitely expect this to be a great move if he falls down to 25. I mean, 25. Wouldn't expect it, but we'll see.
Yeah, and now moving with Tampa Bay's pick. Obviously, that team, it's on the rise here. Already getting some big names back on the team here. But obviously, there's still some shoes that they need to fill here. And I would expect for that D-line position, there's another team with that D-line position should get bolstered up here. And then Chop Robertson for Penn State here. Penn State, I mean, they got a lot of good, nice defensive guys. Penn State, they're known for the defensive higher power. And Chop Robinson, he's already been getting traction for a couple months now. Even last year, Chop Robinson for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or even Dejon Cooper from Iowa. Obviously, Dejon, he was projected arguably top 15 pick from the reports from everyone been seeing here, but he could have a possibility to land here. So obviously, either whichever pick would be good for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a move that I would say really does make sense for them. I mean, for a good while, we were talking, corner would maybe be a smart move for them. I mean, see the glaring need clearly that we saw. I mean, a big reason why they didn't get past the Lions in the last, in the, I believe, the divisional round. So, but I mean, obviously bolstering up off the edge. I mean, we kind of see, a good edge rusher has always been a big key to success, and definitely see Chop Robinson being a great move. And I mean, I guess this could be a little more outlandish. We just talked about this just a little while ago, but with the 27th pick, Arizona, they already have their pick, and they got Marvin Harrison already. So would a trade be in order in this pick? Maybe. We discussed, T. Higgins, obviously on the block. He is franchise tag. We hear all that speculations. He does want to go. The Bengals say they wouldn't. A move right here to get another first round pick, I do think would be smart for the Bengals to pull the trigger here, and that would obviously give them the choice. And what better than to give Joe Burrow some help? Get him. I got Tyler Guyton going in this pick, and I think Joe Burrow would be very happy to get a guy like Guyton with a pretty bruised O-line that they had last season.
Yeah, once again, bolstering with that O-line for Cincy, it's really gonna be helpful for Joe Burrow, especially like he already had 2 season-ending injuries. O-line here once again, it's got to be the obvious choice here. Now moving on with Buffalo's pick, and honestly, I'm gonna set the record straight. I really do expect him to go receiver first round without a doubt here after the departure of Stefon Diggs. Josh Allen's gonna need some help either or, whether it's no help, if he's gonna have to prove whether he was without Diggs here. But Troy Franklin, the guy from Oregon, this is another guy that's finally been getting some traction once again early on in the past couple weeks here. His route running, his speed, it's really nice looking at this tape here. So Troy Franklin would be a suitable fit for Josh Allen.
Yeah, obviously, I believe this is the pick that we had in our last mock draft. One of the few that we got to maintain here, and I mean, like you said, this was originally going to be to help Stefon and be a little a great 1-2 punch, and now obviously he's going to be a little more in the spotlight with this move, and I definitely think it's I'm definitely gonna think he's gonna be a big impact player moving in. And now obviously someone that you alluded to just a little bit earlier, Cooper DeJean, the white cornerback, the little unicorn himself. Definitely expect the Lions to go corner in this draft, and to this point he is the best available. We'll wait and see if a white corner can make it in the league, but I've really enjoyed him. Obviously, when I was going corner heavy with the Rams, I really enjoyed him. Would be a surprise to me if he actually does fall this far, but the way the needs shake out, definitely do think it just falls right into Detroit's lap.
Yeah, obviously that defense, it finally showed the true colors of the proper Detroit class of a defense in the championship game here. I would say obviously DeJean already said with Tampa Bay here, but you could also see a guy like Nate Wiggins from Clemson. It's another guy, another very underrated cornerback that's been getting some, once again, more traction here and there. So obviously either or pick would be nice for Detroit. Now moving on with Baltimore's pick, Keon Coleman is going to be paired up with Lamar Jackson. Keon Coleman's another guy I love. All right, I've been really hoping he falls to the second for the Cowboys. I mean, he's cousins with CD. He's got family ties. I didn't even know that until like last week.
I could not see him coming out of the first round. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people. He was projected early second round beginning, and then now from the first projected now first. It all
you
ties
never know.
Into whichever.
All projections don't mean nothing anymore after that.
Exactly, after everything. But obviously, Keon Coleman would be a nice fit. I mean, him getting paired up with Zay Flowers. I was gonna say OBJ, but I think he's gone. Couldn't be gone before the season though.
He's a free agent, but yeah. We'll wait. I mean,
it's without a year, but obviously another weapon added for Lamar Jackson. I don't know how many more weapons Lamar is gonna need, but honestly, Keon Coleman probably the more suitable for receiver for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, I wasn't really expecting him to be that much of a riser, but I mean, the way the needs kind of look this way, I mean, he's definitely, I mean, I guess you can make your argument for McConkey out of Georgia, but I mean, I definitely really like Keon Coleman, like we were always talking about ever since even the last mock draft, but definitely see him to be a great 1-2 punch with Zay Flowers if that's going to be the main thing with this pick. Now going back to the San Francisco 49ers, they obviously get to keep their pick instead of depends if that gets moved in the Ayuk trade, but I would expect them to go O-line. Definitely been, I mean, apart from Trent Williams, it's definitely been a big need for them. And I think Graham Barton out of Duke, not as familiar with him as a bunch of the other prospects, but I mean, obviously, you know, he's gained his own notoriety even coming out of a smaller ACC school, and I think he's gonna, you know, unfortunately, I mean, hopefully pans out as a bust, but if he goes to the Niners, but I do believe he'll do pretty well.
Yeah, finally closing it off with KC's pick. Obviously, I'm also gonna say, look, Xavier Worthy. Sure, a lot of guys, a lot of people, analysts, they're not too confident with Worthy just because of his speed here. But with KC, order reports, he's been getting saddled with KC here. He would love to get paired up with Mahomes, and then with the whole I already had a spaz attack. This was literally the guy I literally loved last season. Huh? No, not Hollywood. I'm having a brain fart right now. The receiver.
Oh, Rashid, there you go. Well, who knows what's going to happen with
Rashid Rice? Yeah, Rashid. I mean, how did I forget him? I mean, he's going to serve a multiple game suspension here, so I would still hope he stays, with the team. But Xavier Worthy, more speed added to Kansas City here, and another weapon for Patrick Mahomes here. So I know a lot of people see Xavier Worthy going in the second round, late third, but I got
But
him
then again,
edging.
these high risers. I mean, I definitely do see Xavier Worthy.
I got him edging to the last pick in the first. Really got him right there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely do agree with you on that. I mean, and I mean, at the end of the day, that'll wrap up the whole first round. I mean, I would definitely say we got a lot of surprises. Definitely probably some trades that are a bit outlandish, but I mean, they're possible. I would definitely say. And I mean, I don't know, Christian, since you're throwing in there, I think we can throw this into the end. Christian, give me what you think the Cowboys are doing in the second round.
Like, honestly, look, like I said, we're gonna go offensive line first, without a doubt. I wouldn't be upset at all if we end up getting another O lineman in the second, but
I don't see Jared going back to back O line.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly wouldn't be upset. But no, don't say that ever again to me. All right, Jonathan Brooks. That is one guy that's really been getting eyed by the Cowboys. Jonathan Brooks. I love Jonathan Brooks. I love him, but again, the story for him, he's coming off an ACL injury. And I'm already having PTSD from Michael Gallup coming off that ACL injury. But like again, everyone's different. Everyone is different.
So a draft prospect that came off an ACL injury, Todd Gurley. Sure, that came back to bite him later in his career, but look at the peak. Look at the peak he gave us.
He had a 2-year peak with you guys.
He had 2 offensive players of the year. I'll take that.
Look, honestly, I still miss Todd Gurley to this day playing in the league, but obviously Jonathan Brooks, just because he's a Texas guy, I like him, but he's gonna be another pick I'm really gonna be skeptical about. But I really hope we do go receiver in the second round to really hopefully fill up that receiver 3 spot. Michael Gallup's replacement here. Like I said, with Keon Coleman rising up, I'm really hoping he drops to the third. To the second.
Definitely not the third.
Yeah, no, I got to mix up. To the second, excuse me. Really hope he drops to the second for the 56th pick with us. And even Adonai Mitchell. Hopefully.
Well, none of those are going to happen. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. That's not really what I'm hoping, because honestly,
I mean, at least to your pick in the second.
Yeah. If we weren't gonna, if Jerry was just gonna I don't know, pop something and not go on need at O-line and go receiver, I would 100% would have loved Adonai Mitchell, right? But we're gonna go O-line heavy without a doubt here, and I wouldn't be too mad. And Troy Franklin as well. He's another guy getting looked at from the Cowboys too. But at the second round, I would hopefully expect him to probably go receiver and then linebacker too in the later rounds, because that's another shoe that we do need to fill.
Yeah, I think that's enough Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, looking at the Rams, I definitely expect us to go tackle going into the second round. I don't really look. It's interchangeable. They're either gonna go edge in the first round and tackle in the second.
Gonna work his magic late rounds. He's gonna work.
I definitely see. I mean, we have like 11 picks. I mean, we're definitely gonna hit on a bunch of we got a bunch of them. So look, we're gonna hit on at least half of those. So I mean, I definitely see.
I would expect you guys hitting on a corner, because that's
a tackle from Kansas. There's this tackle from Kansas. Oh, and then I told you too. There's I always keep forgetting the later rounds and because I focus so much on the first round talents. But there's a corner from Michigan too that I've always been really high on, and I mean if we end up going corner in the second round, I wouldn't be mad, and save the needs, tackle or guard and into the third, fourth round maybe. I mean we're stacked on, I believe, fourth round picks. So I mean
Travis Baker in the fourth.
Look, Les Snead has a phenomenal day 2, day 3 track record, especially day 3. So I mean
Kyren and Puka, look at them.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I mean we pulled, what was it, Cooper Kupp in the fourth, fifth round. I mean third or fourth, I believe. But
I mean it's before 5. It was before the 5th round.
Yeah. Well, I mean regardless, that's our own little speculation. Believe at least half of our picks are gonna end up being wrong. Let's be honest. And hey, you can end up blaming me. I'm the one who actually makes these picks. Christian, you're here along for the ride. You give me your little analysis. But of course, that's gonna wrap us up here for our mock draft 2.0. By the time you guys watching this, it'll be a day away from draft day. And Christian, I believe we'll probably get out a couple, day 1, day 2, day 3 analysis. I mean, they'll slowly get a little less insightful, but we'll definitely get some draft analysis as the days go by. And hope you guys enjoyed this this pretty extended mock draft analysis, and I'll be like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back for analyzing all these picks.